Hey guys, so in today's video we are making a wind catcher of sorts. We had some scrap 1x2s and I got kind of an idea in my brain that I wanted to see if I could make, and one day I hope to make it a little larger. So we kind of made a prototype of this. We used these 1x2s to basically create two triangles, and then I had some scrap MDF that I had a circle of that kind of creates the catcher part. This is me just kind of laying these out. Geometry in my brain works, but in reality doesn't always seem to. So I was just dry fitting to make sure it works. But we cut these boards, these 1x2s, down to a 30-degree angle to be able to make a perfect triangle. The board lengths are about 24 inches. You could really make these any size you wanted, which would be really cool. I think someday I'm going to make a much larger one that's probably 4 to 6 foot, so it could just look a little bit more substantial. But we basically cut each side down to 30-degree angles, alternating on each, so that they're kind of create a trapezoid so that everything lines up well. Here I'm marking the center and then using my Craig marking tool. It's a really awesome tool if you don't have one. But basically what I'm doing is I'm going to create a half lap joint so my two triangles can kind of intersect with one another. I don't have a stop block on our battery powered chop saw here, but if you go nice and slow and you've got a nice line to follow and a nice guide, you can easily do this. But the goal here is to make a bunch of little slivers and small cuts, and then eventually cut out all those little remaining bits, if you will, and then you can slowly slide the board back and forth on the blade to get a pretty clean cut. Again, this just being a prototype, it didn't need to be perfect. We then used our Type Bond Type 3 for the waterproof and a couple of finish nails. I believe these were about 1.25 inches that I had on hand. And then just kind of glued these guys up and nailed them. I did 2 on the bottom board, let's call it. And then once I got those assembled, I kind of flipped it up on its edge and put in 1, so it's going at the diagonal opposite of those 2, just for a slightly stronger bond. And then once number 2 is assembled, one important detail you don't want to forget if you want these interlocking is before you secure that third joint, you want to get your first triangle slid into that second triangle. And then once that's secured, your half lap joints should overlap perfectly to make it look like one seamless board. But when I cut that second triangle's half lap, I did totally forget to flip the board, so I was cutting it opposite. And so you'll see in just a second that half lap really didn't become a half lap anymore. But it did work. Ultimately, we got it to work. But yeah, you can see there that that was a boo-boo. That board should have been flipped around, but that's okay. I then used this about a 10-inch MDF circle as kind of the base or the wind catcher for this guy, and then I just used some jute twine to tie that to the triangles and then cut some excess for hanging it from a tree. You could also hang this from something like your pergola or your deck or a soffit of a house, anything that it might work well on. It was a fun little project to do. And while I'm getting all this secured and tied up, if you guys like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon for getting alerts for the next time that we post a video. And there we have it. It worked. I was kind of shocked, but I do look forward to making larger ones. As always, we want to give a huge shout out to all of our members. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.